Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Market Recap. I'm Dan Hodgman. It is Wednesday, January 20th. We have a new president. He has been sworn in. Everything seems to be going swimmingly over there, so nothing of concern at this point. Lots of changes are coming. I've been reading through some of his plans and things that he intends to do here pretty rapidly, so I'm not going to dive into all of that one, but I definitely recommend make sure you're doing your research, read about what's happening, see if you think any of this stuff can affect the markets. I think some of it definitely could have an effect on these markets. So make sure you're just reading into that stuff. President Trump had left already before he got there, so all of that is now done. We're moving forward here. So political opinions aside, let's all hope that he does a good job here for the United States. That's all we want. And we'll see what happens. So 4 years and maybe something else will change. So we'll keep an eye on all those things. Stocks today, man. Magnum, I like the way you put that there. Just a run to the nosebleeds. I mean, that's about spot on. We're seeing a little bit of a tail off here at the end of the day, but kind of as expected, right? We moved ourselves right up to weekly kickoff high, 38.40, and we've kind of stalled out a little bit there when we look at the S&Ps, but definitely expected. There's no questions to be had. We followed through with what exactly was told was going to happen back in November. Stock market kind of started to implement that, and now we saw a nice little rally here today. Crude oil worked its way back down towards settlement price. Gold did the polar opposite, bounces off settlement price, rallies to the upside, and currencies, well, quick little move off equity open and got pretty darn quiet. We're seeing some good moves, though, in a lot of these markets. VIX finally dipping towards back to that 20 mark, and no huge news here today, other than, obviously, we have a new president in the United States. Something I do recommend looking into, there's a lot going on throughout Europe right now. Angela Merkel has stepped down. Norway, they're having a lot of officials stepping down. We have Italy, a lot of officials stepping down. There's a lot going on, and we're not getting a whole lot of information over here, so I'm trying to dig in as much as I humanly can. I don't know much other than just a couple headlines that I've been seeing. So those of you trading the euro, things of that nature, make sure you're digging into what's going on in those economies. There's a lot to pay attention to over there, a lot to pay attention to that can affect these currency markets. So we want to keep an eye on that one. Speaking of currency, US dollar pretty much remains flat at 90. No real changes there. That was the first thing you want to keep an eye on. You're looking at a couple of these things that are based in US dollars. Got to take a look at those things such as gold. Where's that U.S. dollar sitting? Murph, good to see you. Felix, Tanya, Magnum. Like I said, I love the idea of running to the nosebleeds. Tanya's right. Very few pullbacks there. James, good to see you. And Main Point, big ideas. How we doing? Only took 10 points at NQ today. I learned a lot just listening to you guys. Awesome. I'm happy to hear that, and glad we can help in any way we can. Today was a questionable day, right? We had an idea of how today was supposed to play out, but was it going to play out that way? There was always some concerns. What could happen? And so when you have a day like that, you want to definitely be cautious. The real one, any thoughts on why gold rallied? It's a great question. Are we seeing traders hedge their positions? Are we trying to take a short squeeze here in the stock market? See the stock market finally start to sell off maybe? Could that be coming down the pipeline? We're seeing traders hedge. That could be a possibility. So many things could be the reason why the gold is up. I tend to look at gold as kind of a hedging opportunity. So it's definitely something I pay attention to. It could be, absolutely, could have something to do with inflation. There's so many factors, it really are. A lot of times it's really hard to tell why it chose a direction to go in. We just have to understand when the market picks a direction, how do we get in on that? And, we look at the fundamentals and technicals of the markets, and we trade based off of that. Speaking of, why don't we go ahead and take a look at these charts here, see what we got going on here today, and we'll go from there. As always, we're starting out with crude oil. All right, like we said, crude oil opened up this morning on the highs. Again, we pointed this out last night. We said, look, if this market gets a good rally, let's see, do we fall back into this area that we were paying attention to? Remember last night we said keep an eye on 53.80. That's exactly where this market came to. We broke right off of 53.80. And gosh, if it didn't set up more beautiful than ever, a beautiful rundown. I mean, it was tough. If you get the short at the beginning, otherwise you're looking for some pullbacks, but a beautiful rundown right towards settlement price. Funny how those things work. Settlement price, let's us not forget 52.98. We had a beautiful run right down to it. That was our opportunity. A couple pullbacks in there. To give us a chance. You know, we saw that we were failing to get above 53.80, and maybe we missed that initial move. Well, we had a couple more pullbacks that really gave an opportunity to take this market right down to yesterday's settlement price. Next, let's go ahead and look at the S&P 500, which, like Magnum said, ran up to the nosebleeds. It really did. There wasn't much of a pullback opportunity. This was one of those times where it's hard to get in on this trade. We saw one slight pullback right here at about 10 o'clock this morning. That was really our one chance to go ahead and hop in this rally if you didn't get it off the open. But off the open, what do we look for? We want to see where that market is starting to show direction towards. We never really made a move lower. We instantly made that push higher. And that, if you recognize that, maybe you got in on the trade. If not, you were waiting for that one little slight chance of a pullback. But man, we stalled out pretty quick right as we got towards just above weekly kickoff high of 38.40. Next, let's go ahead and look at the Nasdaq, which was, I think, even a bigger tear to the upside compared to S&P 500. We had a slight pullback in this market as well at 10 o'clock this morning, but not a huge one. This was a tough trade to get in. Right? Trends are friend. We say that all the time, but you don't want to get in on highs. You want to get in on those pullbacks. We want to find the weakness to go ahead and hop in on that trend. And that was pretty difficult here today. So you had to really be cognizant of that. Look for those small, almost itsy-bitsy little pullbacks that maybe you can manage some risk. We really, other than one or two times today, our lows were always higher and our highs were always higher. So we had to kind of recognize that, look for that pullback towards that prior candlestick low without the expectation of making a new low there, and maybe we've got some opportunity. So there's a lot of things you can look at when you're looking at candlestick patterns, and a lot of people utilize candlestick patterns. If the lows are continuously being higher or lower, one way or the other, people are utilizing that as a place to maybe put a stop to try and catch that fast momentum move. And those are things you can pay attention to. Next, let's go ahead and look at gold, which, just like the equities, was a nice ripper to the upside right off a settlement price. Gotta love how these markets react sometime. Settlement price $18.40 and 20 cents. Market opened up this morning. We had made an initial low before we opened up, and from there, this thing took off. And here's what caught my attention. I really started to think we were going to find this market stopping when we got up towards 1863. And it started to look that way. We rejected it pretty quickly, but it wasn't enough. The buyers overpowered those sellers. Those sellers were not strong enough, and we really accelerated this thing even higher, and we still have quite a bit of room to go to the upside. So those are things that we definitely want to start paying attention to. Let me open this up a little bit here. Where we're at now, we're trading at 1870. We'll call it 1870. We still have some room up above to see this thing push towards 1890 and possibly even $1,900 an ounce. All right, next, let's look at these currencies and we'll get on out of here. Both currencies made a move on the equity open this morning and stalled out. We came down to, not yesterday, but last Friday's settlement price here in the euro. We came right down to it. We touched it and we bounced. That was kind of an opportunity. I'm truly not looking too far back when I look at settlement prices. I would have been more intrigued seeing the market come down towards point of control But that was not the case. We did not see this market come down towards that point of control. That was kind of where I was taking an eye on it, but it didn't. Market bounced pretty quickly. Buyers started to overpower, and we fell into a really, really choppy range. Again, I think we have some concerns with what's going on in Europe right now, and we want to be cautious of that. We're not having a ton of information flowing on our side of the pond here, so definitely going to want to pay attention to that one. Next, let's go ahead and look at the yen, and we'll call it a day. Yen, just like the euro, had the move on the equity open, skyrocketed up to those nosebleeds. Magnum, I'm going to continuously use the idea of the nosebleeds, and then from there, really choppy as well. So these, again, are the markets that you're going to have to really pick and choose that trade. Minimize your number of your trades taking in these markets because it can snap pretty quickly. Look for those low-risk entry points. This market has been showing a trend to the upside for the last day and a half, 2 days. We saw it start to try and sell off a little bit in the overnight session. We had an initial move higher, and then here's a nice little weak point. If we noticed that and we said, look, I'm looking for this market to maintain trend and not fall into rage, and that's a decision we have to make on our own as traders. We have to make a decision on our own as traders if this is going to fall into range or maintain trend. If you chose to say this is going to maintain trend, then we're looking here to maybe take that long. Otherwise, maybe we got stopped out and we got to look for that next opportunity. All right, everybody, those are our markets here today. I thank you all for tuning in. I do see some other things coming in. Tanya, today's equity move could have been short covering given gold's action. Who knows? Absolutely, who knows? Taurus, let's get some thumbs up for this man. Hey, I like that. Thank you. My input for the old journal today: trade the market in front of you, not the market you want. If that isn't as spot on as it gets, couldn't be more truer. I definitely would agree with that. You have to trade what you see, not what you want. It goes back to like I've said the last few times, that I'm going to continue to reiterate this year and beyond, is you have to trade what you have, not what you want to have. You have to trade based off of your account, how much money you have, how much capital you have. You have to trade what the market's going to give you, not what you want. You have to take your time. Patience is key in this thing. I mean, there's so many cliches we can sit and say that, truthfully, they're as true as it gets. I don't think it's a cliche if it's not true, right? Crude was a bloodbath, chop all day. Bloodbath in a sense, but fell into some really pivotal levels that we talk about pretty regularly. We broke off of 80, which we talked about last night in the recap, and broke ourselves all the way down to settlement price, which was good opportunity. So if you're looking at the market in that lens and opening up a little bit, I think if you look at it from a little higher time frame, we saw some great opportunity in crude oil today. And Murph, when are we going to see something new in the forecast recap every day? Dan, you and John talked about it. It's coming. It's coming. We're just going to be implementing a new product. It's just a matter of John and I making sure we are spun up and 100% ready to go to talk about another market. It's a lot of markets that we're talking about, and so we're bringing that one in soon. It's going to be treasury based. So hopefully John and I will be ready for that one shortly. Also, February 1st, we got some more stuff coming out. For those of you that are FX guys, February 1st, we're going to start implementing some new FX content, which I'm excited about. We'll leave it at that. So on that note, guys, like I mentioned, news is pretty focused here on inauguration and the swearing in of Biden and Harris. Like we mentioned, VIX down a little bit today, 21.4. Our Tesla stock, $850 stinking dollars. And man, we're taking a hit across the board in a bunch of our products, guys. We are, where did I put my card with our buys? Oh man, too many trading cards that I keep on the desk here. Here we go. We bought Airbnb at $148.30. Yes, it opened up this morning up at $176 and broke all the way down to $161.83. And then when we look at our Bitcoin chart here today, oh no, I lost it. There we go. Barely in the money on Bitcoin. We've had a hell of a sell-off. Settlement price yesterday on Bitcoin was approximately 36,600. Broke all the way down to 33,400. And right now we're trading 34,770. So we got about $250, $265 in our Bitcoin. We bought Bitcoin, if you guys recall, 34,515. Dan, do you ever get trouble getting filled on quadruple witching days? Specifically on covering a short. Tanya, if I'm covering a position, I'm just filling at the market. Never anything I've really noticed. Now you've got me thinking about it, and I'm going to start to pay closer attention to that one. The real one, do you guys sell cards? I want to buy them. It looks cool. No, this is from a company here in Chicago. I've got these from back when I was on the floor with everything on them. They're called a hard card. It's a long hard card unlined. That's what these ones are. I think you can still get them on the internet. The company is called Lazare Printing Co. Lazare Printing Co. They do have a website. I think you can maybe order some still on there. I still have literally stacks of hundreds, if not thousands of these in a whole box. So I think I'm going to be good for a while on my hard cards. But these, it was something we used to use on the floor when you were bored. Little thing you would do with them. I think maybe some people have seen Hogan and I messing around with it back in the days when we used to sit in the office. You rip your hard card and they fly really nicely when you throw them. And so you used to have games where you're throwing it into the trash can, or you try and get it in someone's jacket pocket, or try and get it down the back of someone's jacket, messing with people. You were throwing around all the time, and you always had to be careful picking them up off the ground, because a lot of guys would take their gum, stick it in here, and slap the other side, the other side of the card on there, and they'd put their gum inside of it. So thousands of these things used to get thrown around the floor all the time. It was always a fun little game during the downtime. So, all right, guys. Last but not least, this date in history. I think this day will continue to go down in history for many reasons. We have got a lot of inaugurations today. President Trump was inaugurated. President Obama was inaugurated. President Kennedy was. FDR was inaugurated in his fourth term, and I believe his second term. Ronald Reagan was inaugurated on this day. Richard Nixon was. So many inaugurations on this day. So I think it'll continue to be a historical day. But some exciting information about today. On this date, 1981, the Iran hostage crisis ends. As the story goes, that was when Ronald Reagan was getting inaugurated, and Jimmy Carter was still working with Iran in negotiating the release of those American hostages there. From my understanding, he did an amazing job getting them all released, and that's important. And then I think I had one other one I was going to talk about. I don't think I am. That's what we got for this date in history. On that note, guys, John will be back tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Central Time. We are on the downhill slope to the weekend. I don't know about you guys. I'm looking forward to this weekend. I'm headed out to Colorado. I'm going snow skiing and looking forward to a little change of scenery. Other than that, guys, that's what I got. John will be back, like I said, tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Central Time. Until then, you guys stay safe, wash your hands, trade smart, and trade well. I look forward to seeing you guys in the